How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. This is Big Daddy Dave, and this is our early access map tour for a new mod map here on Farming Simulator 25 for what's going to be on all platforms called Strasburg, PA. And the map maker has sent me a description, so starting with that, it reads, "Welcome to Strasburg, PA, a map based off of a historical town in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, my hometown where I have a family-run beef farm. Strasburg was a place of rest along the Conestoga wagon trail as the settlers traveled west. Strasburg is the heart of Amish country. The soil is rich and fertile. The iconic Strasburg Railroad is still in operation today, running continuously since 1829. Get to farming or take a relaxing drive around the hills of the lower Susquehanna Valley. 100 viable farmlands, 69 fields, 12 pre-built farms. Plenty of space to build your own farms. Thank you to BDD Gaming for selecting the starting equipment." Now, before I go any further, you heard right there that there was a shout out to me in the description. I have worked alongside Jaked Up 77, who is the creator of this map, to help with identifying some errors and to get them corrected. I also helped with picking out the starting equipment on this map. So I do plan on giving my honest opinion at the very end, as I always do, but I'm going to do my best to separate myself from the helping out portion and give my honest opinion when everything is all said and done. So that being said, let's go ahead and check out the rest of this. So this is a North American map. It was created by Jaked Up 77, and right now I don't have a file size, so there's nothing I can say about that. Now, if we take a look at the map, it looks like this. You can see here it is based off of a real life location, as it was kind of mentioned there in description. And we start out here on the southern portion of the map, here on the main starting farm. We start out with farmland number 63, and that is the main starting farm. We don't actually have like a pre-built in like field network or anything like that. So like farmland number 27, 35, these are like pre-built in fields here. We don't have anything like that on our starting farm, so there's no crops to start out with. We do have a pretty big grass field out in the back 40 over here, but the main farm is basically where the beef pasture is and the starting house and a couple of barns and stuff, but we'll get to that here in a little bit. So if we take a look around the map, let's go ahead and bring that back real quick. There we go. So if we take a look at the map, you cannot purchase all areas of the map. So you do have areas up here in the north that are not purchasable, like this area here. You also get a few little areas around the map as well that just are not purchasable. And the values of the map is actually very, very cheap. So taking a look, we do have this itty bitty small field, 58 for 1,600. You got one a little bit bigger at 12,000. Got another one here, 26, 34, 34, 18, 27, we got one here for 36, 32, 46, 35, and so on and so forth. 54, we got a real big one right here at 137, even bigger at 175. So it's dirt cheap to buy land here. It is really, really, really cheap. Now, one thing I will say is that this is mostly an arable farming map, so you're not going to get a bunch of forestry or anything like that. You will here down in the south, so I shouldn't really say that you're not going to get a lot, but you can get some down here in the southern portion of the map. Let's see, go down here. We do start with an animal pen. We do have a cow pasture. There are contracts available on this map. There are production chains available, but none to start out with. And then if I scroll over to the right here, down the bottom right, it does say that there's collectibles. I think there's been an issue here going on for a little while here to where it shows that there are collectibles available for a map. But as I pointed out in one of my previous map tours, if I go into the easy dev and scroll over to show collectibles and bring this down to 0, there's nowhere on the map that actually shows that there are collectibles available. So it normally would have these little yellow dots just kind of sprinkled all throughout the map if there were collectibles. And and there's just none here. So I'm going to say there are no collectibles on this map. Now, if we take a look at mods specific to this map, starting out on the buy menu, if we take a look here, there's no mods and DLCs tab, so there's no mods specific to this map over on this menu. But under the build menu, if we go here and we scroll all the way down, you will see there is nothing under the buildings, productions, animals, decorations, or landscaping tabs. So there are no mods specific to this map, but one thing I will point out is there are plenty of mods that are required for this map. So you got like the old school pack, you got the steel sheds pack, things like that. So you do have mods that are going to be required for this map, but not specific to it. So we do start here at the starting farm, so let's take a look at some of our starting equipment. If we take a look at the screen here, go into vehicles, we start out with the Amazon Senio 4000 Super Cultivator, the Albert Bale Fork, or Bale Spike, the Case IH Puma 185 CVX Drive, the FarmTech DPW 1800, we have the Great Plains Solid Stand 1500 Cedar, the Krone Vendro 820 Highland, the Tedder, we got the K-Brand GA 4731 Windrower. We got the K-Brand GMD 3123 front deck mower. We have the K-Brand GMD 8730 FF rear deck mower. The K-Brand SW 4014 bale wrapper. The K-Brand VB 3190 baler. The Pottinger Boss Alpine 251. That is our forage wagon. Pottinger Servo T6000P plow. The Quickie Q7M front loader, and that is it. So let's go ahead and make our way around the map. So starting out here, whoops, actually just around this corner here, we have our wardrobe trigger and sleep trigger right here. Up here is the gate to get into the cow pasture. And over here is where you can interact with all the cow triggers. So we have the load point right here. You have 20 cows to start out with. 646 can fit into this pasture. Milk point here, we have our feed point here, and water point right here. Now you can see down the bottom right hand corner there is a manure value down the bottom right and a slurry value. So my guess is that there's potentially somewhere for a slurry. I actually don't recall actually seeing any place for slurry on the cow pasture here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't recall seeing slurry anywhere. But anyways, manure, as long as you put in straw, should be able to be gotten out. Let's go ahead and close that. And that's mostly it for the starting farm. We do get a couple of little barns and buildings here. So if we open this up, you can see we do have some stuff stored inside the buildings. We do have this. Now, word of warning, you open this door and you'll see that your front loader tool is attached to your 3-point link. It's ever since we had the most recent update, the front loader tools, if you load into a map with a front loader tool that's supposed to be attached to your tractor, for some reason it just auto spawns to your 3-point link. To fix that, all you have to do, turn on your tractor. Let's see. Oops. Move forward just a bit. There we go. So you just disconnect from it, and in this case we just want to push it forward. There. And you can see some of more of the equipment and stuff is stored right over there. So we're going to leave the farm and head out towards the west. Now you can see that pasture does wrap around the entirety of the farm. That's why you're able to fit so many cows in there. And part of your starting farm is tucked away back here. And you can see you got a little building to store some more stuff back here as well. But right next door, you have this driveway right here. I'm just gonna skip right through the bushes, come down here, and tucked away back here we have farm number 2. So if we take a look at the map, come to a stop. So it's going to be a little bit difficult because a lot of the roads are very difficult to see, but you got your main road out to here and you kind of come back into the driveway here. Farmland number 65 can be purchased for $32,960. Go ahead and purchase that. You can see we have a sleep trigger there and as well as a wardrobe trigger along the side of the building there. So as we go back out the driveway here, we have another sleep trigger, repair trigger, so that's going to be farm number 3. Over here across the street, I'm sorry, this is farm number 3. I included that as part of farm number 2. Farm number 3 is right here. You can purchase this for farmland number 69 for $7,340. Go ahead and do that, as well as the land next to it, farmland number 68 for $81,199. The reason being is there's a couple of cow barns and pastures over here as well. And you can also buy 66, which has the trailer on it, for $9,964. So we'll go ahead and purchase all of those just to be consistent. And then over here we have our wardrobe trigger, sleep trigger, and we have a cow barn XL. So we start out with 100 cows in here. 365 can be put into here. Feed goes here. You can also put feed in the very end over there. Oh, come on, open the door. There we go. Slurry comes out there. Milk there. Now, one of the things you will see around this map is there are occasions where some of these fences are left open for one reason or another. Like that one I just came across was left open. And then across the street here, we have a cow pasture with 0 cows in it, room for 314 that can go in here. So we have our input here, feed here, water here. So we're going to head back to the tractor. Hop back in. As we continue along, cross over the bridge. And this is going to be farm number 4. So we take a look at the map. Farmland number 100 can be purchased for $20,416. Go ahead and buy that. And you have a couple of chicken barns, 2 of them to be precise. 500 chickens can go into either one of them. We have our input for chickens here, and we have our feed, I believe, can go inside, down at the very end over there. Same thing for that barn right there. So now, get turned around. And now we're gonna head back towards the main starting farm. So we're gonna do a little bit of backtracking here. As we come around the corner here, you'll see the starting farm come back into view. Passing by the cow pasture here, we're going to come up to the end of the pasture and then make a right. Now coming down here, across over the bridge. Now, tucked away all the way back here, we have 3 trailers, each of them with a wardrobe trigger and a sleep trigger. Now, you can purchase the land that they are on, but you don't have to because you do have access to them already for $52,396. Go ahead and do that. Doesn't give you anything in addition or anything along those lines. It's just something that you can do if you choose, but you can utilize the triggers. So now we're going to backtrack all the way across, down the hill, across the bridge. Now, over here, this is going to be farm number 5. We're going to go here and purchase farmland. Oops. Farmland number 25 for $35,924. Go ahead and do so. And you can see we have a sleep trigger along the side of the building, a wardrobe trigger right there. The rest of it is just buildings and storage, so nothing to show off too big there. Now across the way, it's going to be farm number 6. Stop right here. So purchase this plot. Farmland number 4 for $56,656. Go ahead and do that. You can see we have both a house with a sleep trigger, wardrobe trigger, and a sheep barn. So sleep trigger is right there, wardrobe trigger on the side over here, then sheep barn way over here. Now we have room for 231 sheep in this particular pasture. Our feed can go here. We have our input for our sheep right there. And our wool, I believe, spawns out the side over here. Let's see. I believe it's actually in the tall grass. Can I see the hazard box? I'm pretty sure it's going to spawn right in this area. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's somewhere in this area. So head back to the tractor. Continue to make our way around. Coming up here, we're going to cross over the double bridge. Oops, I almost passed by. This farm tucked away back here. This is going to be farm number 7. Just come up the way, and we'll stop. Farmland number 72 for $36,420. Purchase that, and we have a sleep trigger and wardrobe trigger tucked away up here by the house. So, wardrobe, sleep trigger, now, one thing I will mention is, there's still some rough spots on this map. Still some things that need to be addressed. You just saw the kind of grass growing through the concrete there at the farm. So, little things like that. It's not kind of things that are going to be like devastating or the end of the world kind of stuff. It's just like little inconveniences here and there. And quite possibly can take care of a lot of the issues from the player's perspective. So coming down the road over here, Here we have the next farm. Stop right here. And actually, just going over my notes, I realized I kind of went out of order here. Here's another thing I was going to point out is the fence just isn't here. So you got kind of this gate. But over here, farmland number 70 for 77,024. So the farm that we saw just a second ago, that was, I believe, a later farm. Let's see, farmland number 72. That's going to be farm number 9. So this is actually farm number 7 in the order. So I actually came from this out of order because there's a road that comes up the north here, and it was supposed to come from this direction, but came in the wrong way. That's all right, though. Farmland number 70 for $77,024. I'll go ahead and purchase that. Now heading down the driveway. Up here we have a sleep trigger and wardrobe trigger right there. And tucked away over here, we have a cow barn with feeding robot. Now, I believe I've got this all worked out, but I could be kind of mistaken. So I believe you put in your straw, your hay, and your silage in here. Open this door. I believe over here is your mineral feed. Got your milk trigger there. We have a dump point for your feed if you want to just put it in directly. Let's see, over at the other end there, we have our input for our cows, so we can put cows in, put cows out. But again, it is open, so something to keep in mind. And we do have 25 cows in here. 167 total can fit in this particular barn. So now, head back to the tractor. Then here, we'll go ahead and turn around. Which I'm pretty sure there's nothing left over here. I'm almost positive. Let me just double check. Yep, okay. So now as we continue to head back the way we came, so as we continue to backtrack, we're going to cross over the double bridges. Pass by the sheep farm there on the left, another farm here on the right. Could backtrack to the main starting farm over there, but we're going to pass right on by. Now as we continue to follow this road, we can come up here and make a right. Here we go. Whoops. Now if we want to go to the back side of our own property, you can take this, nope, sorry, wrong road. That's actually to a constructible area right there. Actually coming up here to the left, we have farm number 8, I believe. I think we're on 8. Over here, farmland number 31 can be purchased for $27,684. Go ahead and purchase that. And then you can see down the driveway, we do have another sleep trigger and sleep trigger and wardrobe trigger. So sleep trigger right in front, and wardrobe are on the side over there. And then we'll come up here and get turned around. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back up here and I'm going to make a right, and we're going to take that road just a little ways because I want to point something out. So as we follow this road along here, I did come across a couple of things that are kind of tucked away up here, mainly for things that are needing to be corrected. So we do have this hovering speed limit sign right up there. And then just a little ways down the road, we do have a speed limit sign that is knocked over. So I believe it's just up here. Yep, there it is, right there. So, just wanted to show those off just really quickly. But now, double back here. Coming up at this intersection, we're going to make a right. So make a right here, and we're going to follow this up to the north until we get to our next set of interests. Now you can see that once you kind of start escaping the south portion of the map, it really starts to open up. Like, really opens up. Big fields, big areas to work in. Now off to the left there, that is that farm number 9 that I already showed off. This is the area I was supposed to come in through, not the other way around. Now as we continue to go north, now we kind of get to this northern road that runs east to west. And this is where all the rest of the stuff on this map starts to happen. So, coming through this road here, come to a stop. Now, if we purchase farmland number 87, we can purchase this for $31,024. So I'm going to do so. And we are now at farm number 10. Wardrobe trigger, sleep trigger, a little bit of storage, and then across the street we do have our bakery. So you can purchase the bakery for $50,000. We'll go ahead and run up there and show that off. We'll hop up. $50,000 and just our normal stuff, our bread and our cakes. That's it. Our output and our input right here. Now we're going to head out to the east. And coming up here to my right, this is going to be the largest farm that you can buy on the map. This is going to be farm number 11. We come here and stop. Purchase farmland number 2 for $135,392. Go ahead and do so. You can see we got a whole bunch of stuff here to show off. First off, we have a chicken barn here. We have 250 chickens to start out with, and 500 is our max capacity. Feed goes in the very end there. We have our eggs that can spawn over here. Head down a little ways. We got our wardrobe trigger there and sleep trigger on the left side. Over here, we have our cow barn, again with a gate open. You can come up here and close it. Now to load into it, this is something that kind of was something I had to kind of stumble across, but you can see if you're just standing over here, you're just getting the gate trigger here. But to kind of load into it, you just pull in and you can hop across the way here. We do have 150 cows, room for 213. Now we do have our feed right here. Now this is one of those where there is no slurry output, but you can put in straw and get manure out as well. And then over here we have 2 large steel silos. These are production points that come with this property, and you can see you can make things like hay, pig feed, silage, as well as TMR. So all those various things that you can make with both of these productions. So you got 2 of these. So you got your input here, and you got your output inside the building right here. Off to my left is the gas station. Tucked away back here is going to be farm number 12. You can purchase farm number 12 here on the map. Slow down. Farmland number 74 for $46,640. Go ahead and do that. And we have another sleep trigger and wardrobe trigger. A little bit more storage across the street. As we continue to head out towards the east of the map, we come up here and off to the right, up the driveway here. We have a repair trigger right up here. And then a shop trigger over here. Right there. So now, head back out and continue heading east. This is where I found another kind of issue. So if we come up here, you'll see that there's a little marker off to my left there. Now if I stop here, you'll see it's got the animal dialog box. This is the animal dealer right here. So we can put into any of the pens and pastures that we own or on the map. But also, this is the animal dealer. And you can put in around anywhere around the map. So you can see There's technically two animal dealers, one there and one here. I think this is the one that's supposed to be here. I think that one's supposed to be hidden, deleted, or whatever the case may be. But if you want to purchase animals for your pens and pastures, you can come to this location and purchase them using this animal icon box directly. If you use this icon box directly, you will incur an additional fee. That fee is associated to a delivery fee. The animal dealer is taking the animals from this location and delivering them to any of the pens and pastures you have placed around the map. Now, it does get a bit expensive. For an adult cow, it costs you an additional $100 per adult cow. So depending on how many you're going to buy, if we go ahead and fill this one up with an extra 63 cows, it's going to cost us an extra $6,300 plus the $74,000 it would cost base price. Now, if you want to save that $6,000, you can bring an animal trailer to this location here, and you can load the animals directly into the animal trailer by parking it into this area here and then using this animal dialog box. By doing that, you will then save the fee, and you just have to transport the animals yourself. AI helper Katie is here, and AI helper David is back here. So now, hop back in, and we'll start heading out towards the west. We got to backtrack quite a ways. Whoops. Not what I meant to do. I meant to hit the cruise control. So as we continue to make our way back, continue to head off to the west here. We are approaching the intersection up here, which is going to be the delineation between the old versus the new. Alright, so once we cross over here, now we're into the new territory right up here. So continuing out towards the west. Now coming up here to my right, we're going to pull in here, make our way around the back side of this building. We have the warehouse sell point right there. And around this side, the warehouse buy point right there. And that's where you can purchase all your palleted goods. Now over here, up on the platform there, we have AI helper Ben. Off to my left there, we have the farmer's market sell point, where we have the palleted goods on the right side and the grain goods can be sold on the left side over here with the silo. Inside this building, we open the door. We have AI helper Walter and AI helper Noah tucked away in here. And then, last point of interest right here is the Grain West silo. So this is a basically a storage silo for you to be able to use. And that's it. That is everything here on Strasburg, Pennsylvania. Now it's time to render my opinion and let you know what I think. 0 to 5 scale as per usual. Again, I did have a hand in helping with this map, so I'm going to do my best to be as impartial as I possibly can be. So let's start with the things I like. Things I like about this map is that you've got that nice natural feel to it. The ebbs and flows of this map are just like very nice, very solid, and you can tell that it's based off of a real life location. So you're able to kind of get that, just that sense of reality. The color palette on this map is phenomenal. It's very toned down. You get a little bit of wildflower here and there, but it's not enough to where it's going to be like a cartoony kind of vibe to it. You got just a really nice, straightforward look to it. On top of all that, you also have basically a cornucopia of different locations that you can start out at. If you don't want to have the starting farm be your starting farm, you have 11 other farms to pick from. And you can pick from itty bitty tiny farms. You can have just a house with a sleep trigger repaired, a wardrobe trigger. You could literally have basically anything that you want on this map. So you can start out from any walk of life that you want to. So again, really like that. And then you look around and you've got all these different, I don't necessarily think you want to call them biomes, but it just seems like different areas of the map. So down in the south, you have the more kind of thick forestry area where you're able to kind of tackle some forestry if you want. It's not going to be like the straightforward kind of stuff because I don't think there's a lot of pine trees and stuff, or at least the lodgepole pines where you're able to kind of use a harvester for it. They're more of these kind of elm kind of trees where you just have a ton of branches and all that stuff to deal with, so you're not going to have a harvester to be able to rip through them. As you can see, this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. It's all these real thick, like limb covered trees that is pretty much throughout this entire map. But again, you're just kind of driving around and you're just seeing the natural ebbs and flows, the undulations in the roadway, in the fields. Like everywhere you go, you've got something really nice to look at. It's not just a flat as a pancake or anything like that. But you do get, like I said, they get them kind of multiple different tastes of what's around here, because you get the hilly areas down the south. You get the kind of, I don't want to say flat, but more kind of wide open areas towards the north. So yeah, you get just a lot of really cool different styles. I also like the fact that you don't get a kind of starting field per se, but you do get a lot of property on this one. So I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. I believe, if I remember correctly, if we come back here, head towards the main farm. Oops, I just clobbered that stop sign. Now I believe you can head to the back side of the property from over here. I'm trying to remember exactly. Here, let's see something just real quick. Okay, yeah. Yep. So you got this little trail just along the back side of the fence here for your cow pasture. And then you can just kind of follow this up, and this takes you out towards like the back 40 kind of thing. So you continue to head back here, a little 2-track. And then you got this gate here, which again, something that needs to be addressed here. If we open this gate, but again, it's all little things. It's just, little thing here, little thing there. It's not anything that's going to be like the end of the game or anything along those lines. You're going to be able to, potentially fix them yourself, or be able to, kind of go from there. It's not going to be a devastating loss. But this is like the back 40. This is all land that you own, so tons of grass work can be done back here. So it's just going to be able to kind of feed your cow and get your kind of cow empire going, kind of thing, because you got room for a lot of cows at your main starting farm. And yeah, it's just, I like it. A couple of things that I noticed, like I said, were just kind of little issues here and there. The fencing that we just passed by, the street signs hanging in the air. There's a couple little things here and there in the ways of the terrain where it doesn't quite meet up with the bridges or the road network, things like that. But again, not a big deal. So what would I give this map? 0 to 5 scale. Again, trying my best to keep my bias out of this. I would give this map in its current state a solid 3.5. Well above average, in my opinion. Then, once everything's kind of addressed, things are kind of tidied up a little bit, a solid 4. Solid 4. I think this is a beautiful map. I think it's a really good example of, what can be brought to this game. And again, there's just a lot of playability on this map. You can play so many different angles to this map. Again, we can play the starting farm right here, or you can be the neighbor right next door and just have the house. You know, maybe a field, but we don't have any buildings. We don't have anything. Like, you would have to store all your equipment outside and just kind of have it be right next to the field. There just wouldn't be anything. But there's so many like beautiful little nooks and crannies on this map that just makes it feel very homey. So yeah, at the end of the day, 3.5 in its current state, 4 when everything's kind of addressed and cleaned up and polished. So yeah, all that being said, I hope that you enjoyed this map tour for this early access map tour. And if you did, please show me about liking, sharing, subscribing, following, commenting, doing all the things. The algorithms enjoy you doing, the shows engage with this channel and enjoying the content. That being said, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. Take care.